Well, in the news update today for May the 16th, 2018, Wednesday, we had a manager change here over at Harbor Square that went into effect on Monday, May the 14th, 2018. And of course, the other manager, Janine Brown, was transferred to another location. Ironically, before this, she was transferred last Friday, I guess. Just to give you some general FYI, it is official. We do have a new manager here at Harbor Square. Just give you some in the news stuff that's going on. In case you didn't know that, you might want to go by and say hi to Kristen. Now, she's not really new to us because she was here back in 2015. She was here about 2016, 2015. About that, she was here about a year. But she's back again here. But anyway, she is here. And just go by and say hi to her and let her know how you're thinking, or how she's doing. And of course, we got stuff that we want to tell you about concerning the case, what's going on, but we're going to tell you that at a later date. Because the case is not final yet, because I'm going to reappeal it. Because there were things that were not discussed that should have been discussed that would have helped my case to maybe have changed this plea to change what was entered into the record, because these things were not even talked about really that much, but they were lied about by the other people that were there. But we will reappeal and hopefully try to reappeal it so we can get that heard, and hopefully that'll change this thing that has been put on me, because it shouldn't be here in the first place. But like I said, we're going to tell you more about that as the time goes on, because it's still not finalized yet. All right, let's get into other news. Well, people are really concerned about the new 5G, fifth generation wireless carrier signal or band waves that they're using. They feel like that all these G services have evolutionized the internet, but yet they all pose a harm or some type of danger to all people. Just like Wi-Fi, the regular Wi-Fi in your home, did you know can be used to find out where you are? Like, say, even if you're not using the Wi-Fi actively, they can use a special device and they can light it up in your home like a nightlight and see exactly where you are, even through the walls of your apartment or home. Did you know that? Oh yeah, it's special technology they have. They look through these things, and everybody's got Wi-Fi. Even if your neighbor's got Wi-Fi, they can still see you and your neighbor through their own Wi-Fi. And they can actually turn that into light so they can see what's in your apartment or home without even being in there, because they can see it through the signal that the Wi-Fi emits. They have these new glasses that somebody came out with that can actually turn it into a picture. Somehow they're able to see it, and it just lights it up just like you would light up a room when you turn on a light bulb, a regular light bulb in an incandescent or CFL light bulb in your room. The Wi-Fi lights up in the same way with this technology. It's a special type of electronic glasses that use that spectrum. Well, back to 5G. The danger is that it can cause many types of harm with your nervous system and with your respiratory system, and also with your skin and other things in your organs in your body, because the frequencies are close or similar to that of the frequencies that variate or oscillate in your body. Your DNA vibrates on a certain frequency, and everybody's got a different frequency, but God made us that way, and that frequency is quite unique from everyone else that's around you. And certain things with certain frequencies can make you deathly ill, and like certain sounds can make you nauseous and make you throw up, and then there's certain sounds that can make you feel really well, and it's all based on frequency modulation. Well, through this it all has to do with 5G. 5G actually shoots a lot of stuff like that, a lot of high noise to you, and it acts like it's a low. When you're in a car, and say you know how all the new cars have Wi-Fi in them and they have 5G technology in them, or they will have it, the 4G, 5G. It's like slowly cooking you from the inside out while you're in there, and all the devices in there are radiating all around you, all the phones and things, and it's sort of like slowly cooking you like a microwave over time, inside out. And now we kind of gave some of the symptoms on the past video what 5G can cause. Now, some of these symptoms are laughable because I don't know about some of them, but a lot of symptoms that they give are right. But if you would like to see more, look at Reggie from Boston's video. It's on my YouTube thing, and look at it, and he actually gives a diagram. Goes a little bit further than what I talked about in detail, and shows you a picture diagram of what it does to the body. Now, some of these symptoms that they claimed, like about people having premature orgasms or having pain in that area, or feeling like it itches. I mean, I don't know if that's being induced by the 5G or not, or that's just the way it is sometimes with genital regions of the body anyway, because your genitals will itch at times, and sometimes they will normally do that anyway. I don't think 5G has anything to do with that, but some people have experienced pain down in that area, and they think or itching, or premature orgasms would happen. They think that may be caused by the 5G signal. I don't know if that's true or not. However, the tingling, though, that you feel in your arms or in your extremities or in your legs, as I explained, however, they say that's attributed to 5G. And then, you know, the tingling that you feel, or you feel your hairs go up on your skin. They say 5G may have something to do with that. And you know, it's like you can move and you can feel tingling in your body, in your arm or in your legs, or throughout your whole body. Sometimes depending on how you move. And you know, I never used to feel that. And I don't think that's sciatica. I don't think that's that at all. I mean, could be some of this stuff could be bringing on sciatica in people because of all the frequency deprivation that's all around us. You know, all the frequency filtration that's all around us. I don't know, because more study would have to be devoted on that topic. Because that would be an interesting thing to do, a study on that, a case study on that. Because, you know, it could have a lot to do with why people may be having illnesses, and you know, like 5G also gives beta radiation, so in the 5G it's going to increase the way we communicate. A lot of homes right now operate on Wi-Fi systems operate either on a 2.4 wireless system, or a 5 gig or 5G, or 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz system. Well, the new systems that are going in your home of the future will operate on what is called a gigahertz wave, which means it will have a gigabyte coming through your home, and it will operate on 60 hertz. So it will operate on a different frequency of spectrum. And that's why they think this is going to be so harmful, because it's emanating radiation throughout your whole body. And then you got to wonder what it's doing to the wildlife, not to mention your own pets that you have, if you have any at home, and what it's doing to the plants and everything around you. I mean, if you ever notice that animals are starting to act funny, then that could be a sign that something is definitely amok with this 5G, and that maybe they ought to shut it down. If that is the case, if you notice any weird behavior, or if you notice a lot of people getting cancer in your neighborhood where you live, that could be a real reason to shut it down too. Because if you have large clusters of cancer and cancer starts blooming or pluming once they put this 5G up on the poles, because really 5G was really only made for the military. It was only used for the military use because it wasn't really safe and it wasn't well tested. But now what they've done is they made 5G commercialized, so now it can be used everywhere. And it has not been properly tested here in the United States. just like the FCC director basically said, you know, that they weren't going to test it, they were just going to put it up so they could have faster internet service. But my question I pose to these people is, well, has it been tested? And the answer is no, not properly. And that's exactly the words that came out of the FCC's director's mouth when he was on TV 3 months ago. So it's all about putting it out, getting it out, rolled out, all across this country, and not really knowing what the dangers of it yet. And that, to me, that sounds really stupid, because I think it's highly suspect and suspicious all at the same time. Because this stuff has to always be properly tested, and they're saying they don't care about the test. They're just going to roll it out anyway, because they feel confident that it'll be okay to run it. And that's not good enough. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think people should sit there with a pacifier in their mouth and just allow this to go on either. I think we all should say something about this. But like I say, we'll tell you more about 5G. And, I love technology. Believe me, I work with it all the time. But let's move on to another story. President Kim Jong-un over in North Korea has threatened to not have a peace summit talks with President Donald Trump if he has to give away or has to forego his nuclear weapons. So he doesn't want to get rid of his nuclear weapons, in other words, even though that's what Donald Trump wants him to do. But, and then President Kim Jong-un is a little upset about all the testing going on out there, what the U.S. is doing right now out there in that area, which is stuff they've did probably for years. But, President Kim Jong-un doesn't like it. He's a little upset about that. But it's just testing, and he said, and of course the U.S. has said to him that it's just harmless, and it's just testing that we've always done, and it's harmless. It's not going to affect anything or do anything. It's just stuff they do every year for testing purposes. Just similar like what North Korea does. They were doing testing. In other countries out there, they'd be testing their weapons. That's the same thing that we're doing. But no, they're not using them on anybody, so there's nothing to worry about. But Kim Jong-un said that he's not going to have any peace summit with President Donald Trump unless, if he has to forego his nuclear weapons. That's pretty much what he was saying, pretty much, to say the least. But like I say, we'll have to see what develops from there on that, because that's a dicey situation, if you know what I mean. Very dicey, volatile situation there. Because truthfully, in their right mind, I don't care what any country says, they're not going to fully give up their nuclear weapon arsenal. I mean, they might want to make it look good and say they did, but they're hiding that stuff. All countries that are developed, including North Korea, is going to have a stash of it, just like we do. So to sit there and say that we got rid of it, I don't think we need to even talk about getting rid of it. What we ought to do is just all sign a treaty saying we're not going to use them unless other people use them, or if it's a last-ditch effort or resort, then we'll use them. But we're not going to use them in conflicts if no one else uses them. And if you could sign a treaty that's worded like that, and everybody's happy with it, and they can adhere and honor it, then we don't have to get rid of nuclear weapons. But we just won't use them. And I think it's a better solution, because you may have to use them sometimes, including America. And all these countries secretly still have them. I don't care what they tell you, because I know they do, even including us. And it's that they're, to be in a world, it'd be nice in a real world that really would be nice if the nuclear weapons were never created. It would be nice if we had some way to power our homes without nuclear energy. It would be nice if radiation was ever invented. But in the real world, of course, it was invented. And What we need to be is be a lot more responsible with it, because it can really poison a lot of people and kill a lot of people if it's immaturely deployed and used on countries, including on people. And it's poisonous, and it will wipe a lot of people out. And that's why we need to really think hard, take a hard look, and be serious about it. That, hey, we all have these weapons. Then we need to vow not to use them unless it's the last ditch or last source. If other people aren't using weapons that are nuclear in nature, then we will not use them. And as long as everybody signs and agrees to that, then they can keep their weapons, but of course they're not going to get rid of them. I don't care what they say they get rid of them. That's crazy, because anyone that gets rid of weapons, that's not very smart, because other people might still have them. They may use them on you. So if you think getting rid of your weapons is going to be a smart way to do it, I don't think it's very smart. I don't think it's smart for any country to do away with the war weapons, but I hope that no country does ever vow to use them, because I think that would be best, because that would save a lot of lives, not to mention, the environmental impact that comes along with it. But that's just my thinking on it, really, to say the least, as far as that goes. But I had somebody tell me yesterday that I have a lack of social skills on this blog. And I disagree with them, because when you're talking on a blog, it's way different than having a dialogue conversation with two or more people. And the way I am on this blog is not how I am in real life. I mean, sometimes I'm angry on here, and I say, well, if you were angry about something and people kept bothering you for a long time, I think you would probably lack the skills sometimes socially, because you're angry about something because they're not doing anything about it to correct the situation. And I don't think that's abnormal or wrong at all for anybody, because I said if you were angry about something, I don't think you would lack the social skills at times either, if someone kept bothering and harassing you and nobody's doing anything about it. And then somebody said also that if I don't get my way, I get real loud. Well, I constantly have always been real loud, because I have a loud voice anyway. But that's normally been my nature, so I don't even know why that was irrelevant. But they brought that up. And I said, well, I think that person was really talking about herself, because she's the one that gets like that. Curses and gets real loud and slams doors and all that. But, me, I don't get my way. I might get loud, but yeah, I might get loud and verbal, but I'm in here in my apartment. I'm not out there talking or bothering or talking with that person. I'm in here. So that don't even have anything to do with the price of tea in China, because I've always been kind of a loud person anyway. And yeah, I've had my music on loud a lot, so she wasn't hearing what I was saying, because she was always outside my door. That's why the music was on loud. But she never really complained about that all that much. She did one time, maybe, the whole time she was here. But the thing is, the music was all loud, so she wouldn't be listening to what was going on in my apartment and hearing what I was saying, because she was always outside the door trying to hear what I was saying, and then she would put her spin on it. That's why the music was on. Okay, you notice now that she's not here, the music isn't on, is it that much, is it? Wonder why that is. I wonder why. Probably because she's not living here anymore. That might be the good reason, indicator. So that's why the music isn't on like that. But like I say, when she was here, it was on. And it was loud. Because, I had somebody out there always trying to hear and monitor what I was saying through my door. And they were all standing out there. A lot of times open the door, she'd be right there up against the door. So, that's why that was like that. But, that's the real truth about it. Because that's how bad it was over here. And that went on for about 8 years. And it got real worse in 2016. And it got really bad when these other two people moved over here in this building. It got worse. So, that's why that music was on. Because I've had two people out there trying to hear what I'm saying. One would be down there open the door. They'd be down there walking around at the bottom of the steps trying to hear up here at night. So I've had that music on. because I couldn't have a conversation without somebody trying to overhear what I'm saying. And that's how bad it was here, living here in this building where I'm at. And it's just insane the way these people could do these things to me, and then they get away with it, and then they can get an order of protection put out on me. It's insane over a bunch of nonsense, lies. But that's what happened, really. That's all I want to talk about right now. Like I said, there's a lot more I will tell you later on. But right now, that's pretty much what happened yesterday in the courtroom. And, and you think you know somebody, like I knew Miss Miriam Tate for 2 years, a little over 2 years, 2.5 years. We were friends. We used to joke outside and laugh. I mean, she invited me into her apartment about at least a dozen times. She's brought me over there to eat supper with me and Kathy when I saved her life from her husband, who was a true predator, who really, really was abusive to her in every way. And, we would talk, we would laugh, we would cry. She would take me to the store. She showed me all her stuff inside her apartment and show me when she had it all decorated for Christmas the last 2 years. And she had it really nice in there, real homey. And then all of a sudden she started acting like, all of a sudden now she don't know men in her apartment. This is just something new she just started doing as of this year, starting in January. So this is like a new thing. And it wasn't like that before, but she changed it. And, when she said all that stuff in court, on the stand and under oath, and she said all that stuff about me, going in her apartment and saying that she needs a man in there, she was lying. I never said anything to her of that effect. Nothing. When she said I went in there to push her door open, I never did that at all. She never used all her strength to push me out of her apartment. That never happened. That was something she made up. But like I say, it's like this is like a whole new Miriam that I saw up there. It's not the Miriam that I knew. I mean, this was like a whole new reprogrammed, rewired Miriam Tate. And then, you have to talk real loud to her, so I don't know what she heard out there on the 19th. I think she was told that, but I don't know if that's what she heard, what occurred on the 19th of March. But I don't think she could hear it really well because she has problems hearing, because you got to talk real loud to her. She's got a hearing problem. So I don't know what she, and I've always had to talk real loud to her, louder than normal. I never said anything about it. I just adjusted because I knew she had a hearing problem. All the times I knew her as being neighbors and friendly with her and stuff. Because she would always call me up and ask me for like soda, or milk, or, Pepsi, get her some Pepsi because I had Pepsis up here and I would always give her one, and I didn't mind doing that, and I was giving her boxes of Cheerios because she likes it, and I would give it to her and leave it out there, and that's all I did like 4 weeks ago, was leave a box of cereal out there, and then all of a sudden she calls the cops on me and says I was knocking on her door and pulling on her knob, and I didn't do anything like that, and knocking on her windows and propositioning her and saying what she was wearing. I mean, all this was just all a sack of lies. I've just never heard so much lies in my life. I mean, this girl was a neighbor of mine and a friend of mine, and she was just saying all kinds of things. And the cops thought we were like in a relationship. I said, no, we never had a relationship. We're just neighbors and friends. That's about it. I mean, I don't know why she would say stuff like that, because we were never in any type of relationship. We're just neighborly and friendly to each other. At least that's what we were until she said these lies about me. And she went up in the courtroom and continued to spew those lies even more. I mean, because I've been in her home, I've seen the eggs. She's got these glass eggs that she has from all over the world, and I've seen them because she showed them to me. They're mint eggs that people collect. And she showed me all the pictures she's got in there, of her grandchildren, what they drew, and I thought they were nice. And I went in there and helped fix her cable because there was something wrong with her cable box because they had it hooked up wrong or had something wrong. I went in there and helped her and her sister with that. And then she was praising me for saving her life from the guy that was her ex-husband and tried to literally kill her. And he was coming around the building here towards the end to try to scare her and try to do something to her. And of course, we stopped that. And I had a lot to do with that. So she invited me over for dinner for saving her life, and then she did this to me in court yesterday. I just thought it was really odd and very crazy. It's like somebody brainwashed her or something happened. I don't know. Or either she was just two-faced like this all along, and she just uses people, and that's what I think happened there. And I think that's just the kind of person she really is. And I just think she just used me and used Kathy and uses probably a lot of people, and then just talks about people because she's two-faced. Kind of, the truth just comes out over time. Maybe she's always been that way. And she tried to put on this friend thing, try to be friends with all sides, but you can't be friends with all sides because it never works out that way. Because usually when someone's trying to be neutral, it's because they're trying to tell somebody else the information. And that's all Miriam was doing the whole time. So, but anyway, that lets you know what kind of person this person is. And it's what I've experienced from observing and talking with her and seeing how her behavior changed, a lot from that time. And it really shocked me when she was sitting there saying I said that, about what I said about threatening, her when I didn't, because she knows I didn't say that. She just lied because I think she was pressured and probably was like that all along. She was just two-faced, and that's why she lied too, instead of telling the truth and speaking up for me and saying what really happened. Because what really happened on that day is not the way it happened, the way they tell it. And I think Miriam, she knows it, but she just going along with them because she was pressured and probably was two-faced all along. It's just the kind of person she is. So I think some of the trouble that she's been in, she probably caused it because she instigated things and probably pushed him to abuse her like that. And then some of the things, because some women do that. And the best thing to do is when a man's angry is just leave. Leave him alone. But a lot of women don't do that. They like to keep instigating. Some women are like this. And that's why sometimes they get abused the way they do. Some of it is their fault because they do instigate things, they provoke things. But if somebody's high on drugs especially, and they're not thinking right, and they have a history of this, then why would you even be in the house there living with them anyway? I would have already left. But I guess she thought she didn't have no way to get out. But that's why she got abused the way she did, because she stayed around. And she should have left. But most people, when something like this happens, I would have left. Because you don't want somebody to hurt you or kill you. And a lot of women think, well, if I leave him, I'm going to be killed or hurt. So I'm going to stay because I love him. And I guess that's what she thought. But of course, it didn't work out that way because that's just what the predator, the one that's abusing, could be a predator too. Not a sex predator, but they can be a predator in a way of being an abuser. But in her mind, she thought, well, either way, if I leave, he's going to come after me. If I stay, maybe he'll calm down and he'll love me, because I know he loved me. And yeah, he loved her when he wasn't high on drugs, and he wasn't, doing the other things he was doing. Yeah, of course he loved her at first. But then the drugs are talking, and usually you need to get out of there, but a lot of women who are abused don't get out. And so they end up continuing to get abused because they stayed, because they think there's no other way out when really there is. But see, women, when they're having that happen, they don't think there is a way, because they think they're still going to be harmed anyway, so they still stay, thinking that's going to solve things, but it doesn't do that. So I think that's what happened in her case, with what happened with her and that guy, with her former ex-husband. And plus, he really wasn't a good person anyway, because he has had a violent history. And if he killed two other people, that's all the more reason not to be in a relationship with him. But, a lot of girls, a lot of ladies fall for these men that are dangerous. And that's why I think Miriam fell for him. That's why a lot of women fall for him. And that's the wrong type of man that you want to get. But a lot of women, they like men that are like that, because, it's cool. He killed somebody. Oh, he must be really cool, and that's neat. So they end up getting with these people, and that's why they get abused, because they end up getting into a toxic relationship. And that's what happened there. and that's why she got what happened to her. And of course, she didn't leave. She stayed, and she should have left when she had the opportunity to do so, but she still stayed. Um, but like I said, back to what happened, some of that is her fault. Just like some of it is his fault. It's like 50-50 because she would instigate it some. Like she was trying to do with you, with the lying and all. But see, me, I'm not violent. If I was violent, I would, be doing something back to her, but I'm not like that. But she made up all these lies and, on the stand under oath yesterday. And it floored me again. I couldn't believe she was up there telling all those lies, all those falsehoods. And then, of course, lady that lived across from me when she lived here, she said she never cursed at me. She never cussed at me at all. She lied about that. She was always cussing at me. True. Every time she would talk, she was, curses I said on the video here are only a few. What she said was like a sailor. So, to sit there in front of a judge and say she's never cursed at me. And of course, nobody asked her if she did that. Nobody said she did that. But she just volunteered that information, which I don't know what that had to do with anything. But anyway, just more lying on herself, telling on herself, pretty much. Because nobody asked about that. And I did look at that video, Truth or Fiction, and I didn't see anything in there where I threatened her about, coming after her. I didn't see anything in there at all saying that when I looked at it myself. And the stuff she said in there, that was lies too. But, like I said, we'll talk more about, all these things, on a later date. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a nice day in spite of the rainy weather that's going on. It's supposed to be doing this rain off and on through Saturday, and before it clears out. But, like I said, if you go out, plan your activities accordingly, and make sure you have, take an umbrella with you, and make sure you make plans so you can move your activities indoors if it does start raining, because it's supposed to do this off and on, like I said, through today, from today on to Saturday. So as it goes on, it will do this, but plan your activities accordingly so that you know what you need to do in events, so you can plan your activities around your schedule. So when it's raining, you can move it indoors, and that way you can continue having fun. If you hear thunder outside, because there will be thunderstorms embedded in these showers, this is a slow-moving low that goes up and down the east coast of the United States. It's going to be like this through Saturday. If you hear thunderstorms, get out of the pool. Don't stay in the pool, because lightning does shock people in water, and it does kill people.